Wellsday. It's your favorite day of the week. And my name is Michał, and with Przemek today. Przemek's joining from Poland. I'm joining from New Zealand. And just a couple of words for those who are joining in for the first time. A couple of words of introductions. Maybe Przemek, if you can start.
Sure.
I put you on the spot.
Good morning, sawadee bonjour, dzień dobry. My name is Przemek Jaczewski. You can call me Przemek. I'm a CEO of Health Desk and also a well-being and marketing strategist for 18 years by now. Previously, I used to work for international companies like CDC International, which is responsible for vodkas. You may probably know Żubrówka and Soplica, L'Oréal Poland. And right now, for the last 3 years, I live in Southeast Asia. So I try to
Enjoying your life.
Yes, and I'm enjoying my tropical life while trying also to improve the overall well-being of employees in Europe, in Southeast Asia, and in Oceania as well.
Awesome, thank you. And
What about you?
My name is Michał. I'm from Poland, moved to New Zealand almost 6 years ago. I think I have also 18-ish years of experience working in HR, L&D, OD, project management space for pharmaceutical companies, FMCG, public company as well. And now I'm head of learning and development at Hint Management and Sudima Hotels. And I'm also HRZ branch president for Auckland. And my role and my mission is to make sure that learning is accessible for people in my organization, but also in others, and for HRZ, helping shape their profession in New Zealand and abroad as well. So that's about us briefly. And today we're going to be talking about Pride Month. So this is Pride Month in June. Right, so you probably have seen a lot of pride flags and rainbows, and I say rainbows, unicorns, and everything like that. And there was a lot of companies are involved in a lot of activities. So today we're going to be talking about what are those activities, what brands or different companies are doing in different countries. So we talk a little bit about integrity of a brand, and also we call it how exclusive is your inclusivity. So by doing doing initiatives on making sure that you have inclusive workplaces, which is great, do you also unintentionally maybe exclude people who don't want to take part on those initiatives? And so we're going to share, or Przemek is going to share with you some data, if you in America. We just had a conversation about the difference in different words in British and American English. So I'm going to share some data on gender identity over the past, I think it was like 10 years. So that will be a good to understand, to know those data, but also what we want to do today is just show some objective information that's out there for you also to have a look, make your own opinion of it. But also we're going to share, of course, our thoughts, our individual thoughts. It's not representation of our companies. This is purely personal point of view. Right, so should we get started with some data that you've researched, and maybe we can have a chat about this.
Yeah, but before we start, I just would like to point that we are going to talk about the trends on the market, and it doesn't mean that we are agreeing or disagreeing with any of these trends. So we are just researching and providing the information to make some conclusions that will make those data more accessible to you for your better understanding and for making your own conclusions on this topic, whether it's working for you or it's not, it doesn't work for you, what's more beneficial, for example, for your company, and what is not. Okay, so let's start with the data. I asked Chat GPT for the general LGBT identification, and it gave me the result that as of 2024, 7.6% of US adults identify as LGBT, according to Gallup research. Why US adults? Because US is the best research market regarding the LGBT society and LGBT people. So the population of people is quite, I mean, the overall population of the United States citizens is very big. So the data is representative. And so 7.6 of US adults identify as LGBT for 2024. And this marks a slight increase from 2022, when the figure was approximately 7%, also based on Gallup. So it's like a 0.6 percent point up. And comparing to what is very interesting, comparing to 2012, the Gallup estimated that only 3.6% of US adults identified as LGBT at that time. So we are seeing a 100% growth evolution towards the higher self-identification as an LGBT adult. And it's very interesting because comparing to the natural data that are taken into the researches about the natural population of people having sex with the same-sex intercourses, yes, it's around 5-6%, which is also brings us to the point regarding the younger population, because basing also on the Gallup from 2024, as much as 17% of adults under 30 years old identifies as a lesbian, gay, or bisexual. This is data for 2022. So this is overrepresentation of the self-identification as an LGBT adult in the population of people 30 and under. Very concerning and very interesting, because the trend is going up. And if the trend is growing, it means that there are some internal or external factors. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Factors that influence this attitude, this self-identification psychological process of people. So I think it's a good starting point for our data interpretation and beginning of this conversation regarding the Pride Month in companies.
Well, this is data, as I say, it's quite interesting to see the increase of number of people who identify as say LGBTQI plus, and there are many different variations of it. It depends on the country as well. And I wonder why, and is it because this is the basic research question, why is that? To have data is great, but what are the insights, what we make out of it? And that's something that we could go into our own interpretation of it right now, which is if maybe it's more accessible, the information, maybe there is more it's more common, maybe it's more accepted, so people can admit that they are, say, lesbians or gays, etc. Or maybe there's something totally different that we don't understand yet, because this is just, let's say, raw data or data showing that how people identify themselves. So I wonder how it is, as I say, it's a good segue for the companies, because when there is a trend like this, so we can see more people being or identify themselves as LGBTQ plus, then companies might want to, well, we have diversity, equity, inclusion, that's very popular, which I think personally, it's a good initiative in a sense of what we want to do. We want to make sure that there is an inclusive workplace, that people can be themselves fully, not being judged by others. That's what it is, right? The thinking of misrepresentation, I've heard is you need to have representation of not certain people. There's different people, so that's diversity, but representation. And that reminds me a little bit of what was in diversity, that you need to have a quota. You probably heard about that, that you need to have in your team to be considered diverse, because as a company, a lot of companies say we are diverse, we want diversity, that we want people from different ethnicities, different backgrounds, etc. Does it happen right now with people with different genders? Have you heard anything about that?
Yeah. I also witnessed some examples on LinkedIn that
Mm.
people are representing different companies are boasting about hiring sexual minorities. So there are, in fact, underlying the event of hiring people, stressing out that they're LGBT plus. So this is some from the marketing point of view. They are making like a additional value to the provided communication, that they are in the trend and they are benefiting from hiring people from the sexual minority.
And that's, I'd say, nothing wrong with hiring people. Well, it shouldn't be based on, it should be based on objective criteria, how well you can do your job and your
Yeah,
competency and your potential. And that for me personally, I think that this is we'll say stressing this, like we're looking for no particular reasons, because we're just inclusive company, then this is my personal opinion, that this is wrong. We should be saying we welcome everyone. Everyone's welcome. It doesn't matter if you're gay, lesbian, trans, black, Mexican, whatever. It doesn't matter. It shouldn't be taken into consideration when looking for a job, because
that's
that's
right.
you're looking for objective criteria of competency levels.
Well,
But there is,
please continue.
but there is also this thing. I believe in equality, but there is this component of equity and being, say, unrepresented, and not every say ethnicities or people from different, say, low socioeconomical backgrounds, they don't have the same opportunities as others. But I think that's like a different conversation. I think we can talk about it actually, and it might be interesting for one of our entries. But just basing, let's say, hiring strategy on we need more gays, or we need more lesbians, or we need more trans people. Why? I would ask question, why you need that? Just to tick the box that yes, we are inclusive company because we have 3 gays and 5 lesbians.
This is a good
That's
question, because if in the hiring process you've got sexual preferences above and that are over competences, this causes the problem to your company in the meaning of effectiveness, in the meaning of resilience, in the meaning of having a very well worked, very well managed workforce, that they are feeling good together. So usually, if you are making something because you've got the mandate to do this, so you have to do this. You at the beginning of your sentence, which was very long one. So the first
well,
sentence, yeah, for the beginning of your first sentence, you said we need to have, or you need to have. So the question is, do you need to have LGBT people in your office, or do you want to have LGBT people, or do you want to have skilled employees that occasionally happen to
just happen
be
to be.
LGBT? Yes, they happen to be LGBT, right? I had several colleagues, LGBT colleagues, on my career path, and they were wonderful people, very high skilled people that I loved to work with. But they were hired not because of their sexual preferences or self-sexual identification, but only based on their skills. And that was different time, because it was more than 10 years ago. So that was a lot
Different
more.
times.
Yeah, it's more than a decade ago. But the criteria for hiring people was different. So this is the good question that you asked, Michał. whether sexual preferences come over competences in the recruitment process. So what is the key of hiring people, and what is the aim and the benefit for the company of hiring LGBT plus people on purpose?
Just to increase diversity. I don't know.
Optically, you may increase diversity because usually those people who want to express themselves, they also appear on LinkedIn, they appear on the love parades and so on, so on. So they make company visible in the places that the company can underline their LGBT plus friendliness.
Yeah.
But if it's separated from the competences, it's wrong, in my opinion, because it influences and affects the effectiveness of the company.
Well, and that's like going back to my question, why? Like, if a company says we want to employ LGBT people, LGBTQ plus people, because this is our reason for it, etc., etc. They have strong beliefs in that, and they know why they do it. If they're private companies, I always say private companies can do what they want. If the CEO of the company says, I will employ only, I don't know, people who are 175 centimeters or taller, go for it. You're a private company, you can do whatever you want, right? As
Still,
long as
it can be perceived in mainstream media as a discrimination.
But that's different, right? That's discrimination. But my point here is, if you have reason for it, for something, and it's not coming from a place of hate, saying, oh, I just hate short people, so I'm gonna, focus on the tall people. There is a different reason saying, I need tall people because I have, products on shelves, and I just need tall people because I just can't make it for short people. If you're a private company, you have any say reasons for that, you can do it. I would say, is it exclusive for short people? Yes, it is, and this comes from reputational risks and etc., etc. But it's private company. So the reason, again, this is my long sentence, right? As you pointed out before, is you need to know your why we need that, why companies, and what's the reason behind. And that would bring me to the question of, if you have global brands, because that's what we discussed before a little bit, is that you have your strategies, you have your global strategies, you won't be perceived as a company doing great things and say DEI, inclusivity, etc., etc. But if we're talking about global brands, not in every country the same brand looks exactly the same, promotes the same values, and being, say, supporting certain causes. And I believe, have some examples of some brands. And again, this is not pointing out for you're doing it wrong or you're doing it right. It's more facts. This is happening. So I'll probably leave it to interpretation for everyone. But I certainly want to ask to have a chat about it, because I found it really interesting that these things happen.
Yeah, well, I will put some screens of the brands that are that they've got their logotypes in LGBT colors during the Pride Month. In certain countries, but in certain countries they don't have. So this is like a selective approach towards proclaiming the values that are important for the company. And this brings us to the question, is it fair for the users of these brands? Is it honest? And what are the values of this company? You covered it with the one word. Are these values of this company are integral? So what's the integrity in this company? Yeah. Can you elaborate on this?
Yeah, sure. So won't be talking about specific brands right now, but there are certain, as I say, certain brands that, if you think in global brands, they have those logos, and in LinkedIn especially, you see rainbow flag there, which is great, supporting communities. But if you go to another country's LinkedIn or Facebook or whatever, you will see there is no rainbow flag. And if a company stands for, yes, we inclusive, yes, we supporting LGBTQ community, so you do it in one country, but not in the other, but you're the same company. And that poses a question of integrity of the company, of the values of the company. Because in my opinion, it's always, and it's always have been with me, walk the talk. Like if you say we support LGBTQ community, you do it everywhere, even if it's not convenient or easy. It's almost choosing, I think it was in Harry Potter movie, it's the time of choosing between what is easy and what is right. And I think that's a little bit, it's a wisdom from Harry Potter, but it is about it, really. It's the reputational risk for the company in certain countries to go rainbow. Probably we're talking about private companies, so it's all about money. So there is
That's
a
right.
risk of financial risk. So if you say in a country, let's say, that doesn't really support LGBTQ communities, if a company does that for, say, bring their logo and start being super pro LGBTQ, they might go, say, boycotting the company or the brand. People might start not choosing or actively choosing competitors, right? So there is a financial risk, and that will be interesting to hear from those brands and those companies. Really, what is it? Like, why is this happening? And how they can, I'll say they can live with themselves, because that's
Mhm.
judgmental.
Yeah.
I would rather say understand what's the reason really and how they can keep the values of the company and the integrity intact in those situations.
I can answer to part of these questions because I was working for more a decade as a marketing manager on a higher positions in the international companies, and I can answer to some of
Yeah.
these questions to make it clear. As you said,
Mhm.
everything is about money. So how is it possible that the company can have the image untouched on certain markets? It's because there's something like a language barrier and
Mhm.
also the cultural barrier as well that is valid only till the border of each country. If you've got a bank of countries that share similar vision of the world, like for example, USA, European Union, you can freely launch marketing or PR activities that target larger area. But the problem starts with countries that are, for example, they've got more conservative approach, and the companies know that if they launch the LGBT campaign in that countries, and they will lose sales by like not by 5-10%, because nobody in those
Completely.
countries will accept this kind of behavior, this kind
Mhm.
of activities and approach. So the question this brings us to the question, what is the real deal for the company for supporting certain campaigns, not only LGBT campaign, because it's valid only for 1 month per year. If the company truly supports LGBT plus community, the activities should go all around the year, every month, not only in June that everybody is taking up on their desk boards the rainbow flags and wave with these flags for the whole month. And
Mm.
at the end of June, the flag goes back to the uh,
To the
to
cupboard.
yeah to the cover. Yeah.
100%.
So
I'm so glad that you said it, because that's exactly how I would like it to see this. It's Pride Month. It is, well, actually in New Zealand we have also February. That's our Pride Month. So we have two.
mhm,
But it shouldn't be that only in this month, yeah, we do all the Pride stuff. We say yes, we support, and then July comes in and there's, oh, okay, there is another group to support, so we kind of forget about
yeah.
LGBTQ because they have their own month. So now we're
Mhm,
going to focus on someone else. It should be, and I think that it should be throughout the year. And really, if a company have certain values, they can and say walk the talk, have the integrity, and say, yeah, we support our, say, um, rainbow communities throughout the year. Pride Month is just like a pick of activities because we joined the party with everyone else. It's fine. But if it's, as you say, okay, June's coming, let's get all the flags from the cupboard, make everything rainbow. July the 1st comes in, back to the cupboards, and we focus on something else. That's not good. That's just ticking the boxes.
Right. This is the definition of marketing campaign. So marketing campaign starts on a certain date and ends on a certain date. And the aim of the marketing campaign is to deliver certain results, right?
Yep.
This can be sales results, emotional results, PR results, publicity results, and everything concerned around the marketing campaign. By the definition of the marketing campaign, that brings uh, benefits to the owner of the campaign or the person that delegates to deliver the campaign to the market. If you see, for example, the different logo types, just to go back to this topic, that, for example, logo of the premium brand is rainbow on certain markets, but you see on the LinkedIn or on X, or formerly Twitter, that this brand on the Arabic markets is totally non-rainbow. It's black and white, or in its original colors. It shows that the marketing approach of this company that you are associated with, work with, or that you're buying stuff from is variable. And it varies from market to market based on the perceived benefits, right? Just like starting the campaign in June and ending the campaign at the end of June. And this also brings us the question of the preferences, because at the beginning of our meeting on Wellsday, we said that only 7.6% of grown-up adults in USA perceive themselves or identify themselves as LGBT people, right? So if you've got 7.6% of people, this means that 92.4% of people are straight, right? And so you're launching, for example, your company is launching a huge campaign with everything concerned with rainbow-friendly activities, unicorns, and so on and so on. And this brings a huge question mark in my mind, if those activities can interfere with the values of 92.4% of your other employees. How do they feel? Because they're straight oriented. Some of them may be like got a liberal attitude towards LGBT activities, but some of them may have conservative attitude and perceive themselves as conservative people. So what is the benefit? Is the emotional and also the integrity cost of the workforce when you launch the campaign for the Pride Month?
And that's like bring us to this question: how exclusive is your inclusivity workplace, right?
Yes.
And I'd say, like with the campaign, I said there's a lot of money going into that, and if it's not, I think it's not only for this 7% of people, because I think that the purpose is more to show that yes, it's okay to be gay, it's okay to be lesbian. I always say to adult people, let them be. Like I always say as well, let be yourself, or let be yourself, and let others be themselves as well. Like don't care. But from a company perspective, as I say, looking into, you do so much and you put so much resources on one group. Do you take into consideration who's not part of that group? And as you say, what are their feelings? What are their emotions? And what are their approach? Because they don't need to be on board with say rainbow boat and say, yep, let's go to the Pride and celebrate together. Let's go with the flags. And I'll say they don't have to. And that's what I had these conversations with in my previous work as well, is that not everyone has to be on board with it, as long as they don't actively go against.
Yeah.
So if you say, oh, I'm not going to be waving flag and I'm not going to go for those meetings, fine, you don't have to. But if you say, oh, this person is gay, lesbian, and they should not be working here because it's abomination, etc. No, that's your own judgment. There is no place for that. Like I call it hate speech, but it has a lot of weird connotation these days. Let's say as long as you're not actively not promoting. actively discourage people or put paid or diminish them, whatever we call it, then it's fine. And that brings me to one example from, or actually two quick examples from workplace, not my current workplace. Want to make sure that I said that. Is one that was a person who said there was a big thing in the company saying we need to have my rainbow tick, so like accreditation, like yeah, we are rainbow friendly, and they said now everyone needs to do the training on different on LGBTQ, understanding different genders, and there were a couple of those e-learnings, because it was there, and people didn't know why they need to do it. One, they need to do it now, because there was no expressed properly. But also one person said to me, so I'm not gonna do it. I don't feel comfortable doing this kind of thing. Like, let them be whoever they want to be. I don't have anything against LGBT people, but I just don't want to do this training. Like, leave me alone. Like, do I, it's like, do I make them learn about straight people and my sexuality? Well, probably in school, etc. But that was not the point, and that got me thinking, like, yeah, well, actually, we should be making people do this, because that's will have the opposite effect than trying to encourage people to say, hey, we're gays, we're lesbians. Do you want to know more about us? Do you have any questions? More educational and encouragement, then you need to do it, because
I've
this
got a question
causes
to
resistance.
I've got the question to think you
Mhm.
said. Is
Yep.
the workplace a place for providing a sexual education?
It's not sexual. Is it a sexual education, really?
It is about sex, right?
It's about, well,
Sex
that how you
sexy.
preferences.
Yeah. So
That's a good question. It's more, I think it's, if you're thinking from, I think it's acceptance, learning. I think that would be the case. Education on accepting other people's preferences and
but
how
it's
they.
pointed, but it's focused on sexual preferences. It's
Mhm.
not about for example, you've got a set of some e-learning or some stuff that people had to do, right, or were encouraged to do. And this focuses on sexual preferences. It's sexual orientation. It's connected not with skills that are needed for the
No.
work. It's connected with the self-sexual orientation.
Yes, but
So
I think it comes back to, we don't look, if it's a workplace, then it's purely about skills and competencies, would be robots, right?
mm,
This is about bringing, so I said, it's a cliche, bring your own your full self to workplace, but
mhm,
it's really is about that. Like if you're black, if you're Asian, if whatever your skin color is, you can't change it, right? Unless
that's
you're
right.
Michael Jackson and you can change it from black to white.
Mhm.
But for everyone else, this is something you don't have influence on. So it's more about, let's say, education on, if that person is this, it's okay. Like, more bringing understanding. And it's, again, it's not about, I would say, coming to workplace and it's like, if you're gay, wearing, I don't know, pink unicorns, or wearing like a mesh thing and say, hey, I'm gay, I'm doing this, or I'm a lesbian. And this is biases and prejudices, right? That people have, and some perception of gay, lesbians, trans people. It's more, I think, it's education of understanding, like, these guys, like, if this person is gay, it doesn't define them. If this person is a lesbian, it doesn't define them. The same as this person is black, it doesn't define them. The skin color doesn't define who they are. It doesn't mean that they will, I don't know, this is no association with black people, from what I've heard, that they are thieves in some cultures or some places, right? No, it's completely wrong. Like, anyone can be a thief, anyone can be this or that. So in my personal opinion, and should be, skin colors, ethnicities, religions, it really doesn't matter, as long as you don't trying to, I say, make other people think the way you do, because that's the
Mm.
issue, and it's extreme points on both sides. So I don't
Okay.
agree with any of those sides.
Okay. So this would bring us to the conclusion that trainings on LGBT topics are fine unless they are not trying to re-educate you as an employee, the first thing. So
Indoctrinate, I'd say.
indoctrinate, and the
Education, I think, is fine.
okay,
Indoctrination is not.
indoctrinate you, okay, and also that LGBT activities at the workplace are fine unless they are voluntarily participated, not mandatory participated.
Yeah. It should
So
encourage for good reasons, saying, hey, we have this activity, would you like to come? No, I wouldn't. No, thank you. It's not a bad answer. And try to understand why, instead of, oh, okay, this person is homophobic. No,
yeah,
they're
so
not.
it's good to stress out that if you don't want to participate in LGBT activities in your company, it's fine. And you've got the right to refuse, right?
It
Because, for
should be.
example, it should be that you have a right to refuse because you don't have different values, you've got different religion, you've got different culture, you've got different point of views that do not affect other people in any kind of way. But you've got the right to live by yourself. And
Mhm.
this brings us also to the example that I would like to show from Polish market, that the employee of the IT company, I will put the screen also here, was fired because he was made to participate by the employer to participate in the pride activities in their company, and he refused. He said that
Mhm.
these are not his values and he doesn't want to mix those values with his values. And he just rejected. And he was fired the same day
Mm.
for not applying. I mean, officially it was stated that he was
Okay.
dangerous for the other people with LGBT plus community in his workplace and so on.
Mm.
According to the article, I will provide also the link in the description of the video. It's in Polish, but you can use Google Translate or AI Translate to get acknowledged with the information in this article. But this is the example where uh, being uh, being di diverse being accepting to the other values
Mm.
is made in an opaque way.
Mm.
That somebody's forcing you to accept the values that you are not well with
Mm.
uh, and fine
And
with.
if it was the only thing that I could think that this is like terrible and it shouldn't be, never should be, I think, people fired based on values of the company in that way, in that certain situation, if it's not part of the job and part of
Mm,
your job description. Because this is the only thing I can think of. If it was in your job description, we are a company that supports LGBTQ values or communities. We require you, for example, to participate in at least one activity per year in those activities. If it's
yeah,
in your job description, if it's your agreement, that's what you agree with. But if
yeah.
you change it based on values and perception and your mindset, your culture thing and background, this shouldn't be the case for the company. They encourage, educate, sure, because we want people to be accepting of everyone if they don't harm others. But being fired just because that, no,
Mm.
that's
So
terrible.
according to this article, the result was that employee sued the employer in the court, and
Mm.
the case is ongoing right now because the employee thinks and perceives this situation that he was unfairly
Dismissed. Mm.
dismissed. Right.
Mm.
Yeah. So, do you want to add anything else? Because I think that it brings us to the end points
Mm.
of our conversation today.
Well, I think that, but from as a summary, let's say, or just last point, it's important to tell or talk about this. And it's not only, well, we're talking about LGBTQ plus communities because it's a Pride Month right now. And so this is a good topic. But I think for everything and anything, really, it's good to do your own research, base your opinion on facts, and check the counterparts as well. So if you're saying, you know, LGBT is bad, is bad, is bad, and you will searching on only those articles, of course, you will search and find this information. If you read something on one side, try to search something for another, just to get better perspective and better understanding, and understanding of different points of view. And that's why we come back to this, how exclusive is your inclusivity? So look at people who don't want to participate and
which
why.
is 92.4% of
Well,
potentially
not
peer employees.
potentially. I'd say there's a lot of supporting people for different causes, and it's not only LGBTQ. So
Yeah, I'm just bringing up the statistics. Yeah,
yeah. So potentially you would say 7% versus 93%, right? This is like let's say David and Goliath battle. But I'd say for people, it's like make your own choices. Do your reading, do your research, get your opinion, get your facts checked as well. And I always say that if we're talking about adults, we're not talking about teenagers and all the other stuff. We're talking about workplaces with adults. If there are certain things that are accepted by and behaviors by the companies, that you need to obey. That's one thing, but your values, your perception, your own personal values are important, and you should be able to speak up. If you're LGBTQ, we say speak up, but also if you're straight and you're not feeling okay with some things that company does, you should be able to speak up about it and not being judged.
and not
And
being punished.
not being punished and not being judged, there should be openness to have a discussion, which I think it's lacking in a lot of areas. Um, so that would be the thing. And for employers, I think that the key thing is why you're doing this. Is it is it just a campaign to get more followers and say, yes, we're great? Or is there a deeper meaning intertwined with your values, saying we value every person, no matter the gender, the identity, sexuality, whatever it is, we don't care, meaning it does not affect our judgment or our opinion, I'd say, not judgment, about you as a person. So I think that will be important for employees to know the why you're doing this.
It is beautifully said. I don't have anything to add.
I tend to
I
have a
agree.
long sentences. I see this
It-
now.
It's but it was very well covered up and summed up. So I
Thank you.
think you nailed it. Thank you. And also thank you guys for watching us. If you like this content, you've got your thoughts, please share them with us. Please also remember to give us a thumb up, to subscribe to our channel, and share the knowledge that is shared with you on each Wellsday with your colleagues and people you take care about, to make a place a better world together.
Awesome. All right. Have a good week.
Have a good week and see you in July. So in the first week of July, we'll have the summary of the key events from HR, well-being, health, and business areas that happened in June next week.
All
See
right.
you guys.
See you next Wednesday.
Bye bye.